Good morning, everybody. My name's Ewan. I head up the international team, as Martin said, at Inverness Chamber of Commerce. Just to give you a little bit of context, back in 2013, there was no international trade offering from any of the chambers right the way across the Highlands and Islands. And we believed that it was so important to provide a local Chamber of Commerce support service for all businesses right the way across the region, and that's why we started up the international trade team. So we started it up in 2014. We work very closely with our partner chambers in Caithness, in Moray, Cairngorm Business Partnership in Lochaber, and in the newly formed Outer Hebrides Chamber of Commerce, which has just been set up in the past few weeks. And I think following on from something that Martin had said at the very beginning, we're here to help any business in the Highlands, no matter how large, no matter how small, regardless of sector. And from an international perspective, you do not have to be a member of the Chamber. So I just want to say that just now. This is not me trying to sell Chamber to anybody, because we're here for everybody. So within the international trade team, we offer certification and export services, documentation for some of the more experienced exporters. We offer technical training and consultancy support. And we've just set up a programme which is funded through the Scottish Government called the Local Export Partnership. And very simply, the Local Export Partnership is aimed at your small SMEs that sometimes fall in between the cracks. So there's lots of great public sector support through HI, through SDI, through all of the different partners that we've heard about this morning, which is fantastic. But some of them are only open to certain sectors or certain sizes of businesses that have growth aspirations. We're here to help kind of plug the gaps and make sure that any business, regardless of size, gets that support. My colleague Sarah Maltman is here this morning. She's the Local Export Programme Manager. Sarah and I will be around all morning and very happy to chat to you if you've got any inquiries. So what is it we're here to do? We have a lot of hands-on support, and by having Sarah and other members of my team, we're able to spend time on a one-to-one basis with some of the smaller businesses. So you might be working with Business Gateway. You might not be in the network at all. You might just welcome a conversation to see what are the opportunities for exporting. So we're able to help you with that. We work with our international trade partners, looking at logistics, looking at insurance, and looking at some of the big challenging aspects that if you've never exported before, you don't know what you don't know. And it's a phrase that I always say time and time again. I started exporting 16 years ago, and I kind of thought I knew how to run a business. I'd run a business for a number of years, but I'd never exported. And I went out abroad into the big bad world for the first time, and I didn't really know what questions to ask people. And that's no surprise. Sometimes a lot of companies get a bit nervous. They think, we can't ask that question. It's a bit of a daft laddie question. No such thing as a daft question. So we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation. Mentoring support, there's lots of programs out there such as Global Scot and others. We're in the process of developing a mentoring program very specifically on the exporting side of things. We believe that's extremely important. I have up on the slide there financial support. Now, one of my big passions when we set up the international team 4 years ago was that we wanted to keep some of the money on the international side of things in the Highlands and Islands. So what do I mean by that? We do certification for Highland-based companies, and we get paid fees to do that by the companies. So what we are setting up, kicks off next month, is a small export fund, and we're setting aside a certain amount of money from every document that we do for Highland-based companies, and we're putting it into a private sector fund to help some of these small businesses export. So to give you an example, there are lots of public funding available out there through the Go Global grant, which HIE and SDI can tell you more about. So if you want to go to trade missions, if you want to go to trade fairs, there's funding there. they tend to kick in at about £1,500 to £1,700 and upwards. So we're looking at the real smaller amounts of money. So you might be a 1 or a 2 person business, and you may have a market awareness event in London to go to, or Birmingham, and that £200 for a flight to go and a day out of the office might just be enough to say, do you know what, it's not a risk worth taking. So that's where we're looking to plug that gap, and that's all going to be funded directly through ourselves, through the private sector, to try and help each and every one of you. So as Michelle had said, also as Martin has mentioned this morning, we're all here to work with each other. There's no good, bad, there's no best route forward. And I think one of the big reasons for that is, depending on which markets you're looking at moving into, you might be best placed to go to SDI or the Department of International Trade through the UK government. However, Germany, like a number of other countries, the Chamber of Commerce plays a very different role in terms of how you do business. And we have very close relationships with the Schwaben Chamber of Commerce in Bavaria and a number of others, primarily for the German marketplace. So there's been 1 or 2 mentions of the twinning relationships between UK cities and German cities. Now, the link, and I'm sure a lot of you will know, the link between Augsburg and Inverness is the second longest twinning relationship in Scotland. It's been in place for many decades. And up until last year, it's been very much a civic relationship. So it's been linking together schools, the local authorities, and it's done a lot of great work. But what has developed is a really close bond and relationship between both of the regions. So through some funding we were able to win through Scottish Government last year. We took a group of Highland businesses over to Augsburg last May. And that's a picture of us, motley crew, standing outside the Munich Regional Government building. And we had a number of businesses from a range of sectors. We had food and drink, we had the environmental sector, we had life sciences, medical innovations, as well as consultancy services. And we partnered up with the Schwaben Chamber of Commerce and the Munich Regional Government to really sit down and try and get a first snapshot of the opportunities that existed within the German marketplace. And interestingly, Stuart Black, Head of Economic Development from Highland Council, and James Gibbs from HIE are back in Augsburg today. They're there for 48 hours to take some of these initial relationships and discussions that we've been working away for the past 12 months to really try and bring them to fruition. Because from my point of view, we want to capture the opportunity. And interestingly, when we spent time in Augsburg, there was lots of people that we met whose grandparents, whose children have visited the Highlands. And that's all been done through the twinning relationship. So although we think it's just been a civic relationship for the past X number of decades, there is a huge level of knowledge and understanding and appreciation of Scotland, but also particularly of the Highlands and Islands. So you've got the trade mission going out in June. It's Scottish Development International partnering with HIE and Edinburgh and Glasgow Chambers. So you've got Edinburgh, who twin with Munich, Glasgow that twins with Nuremberg, Inverness that twins with Augsburg. Huge level of opportunities there within the German marketplace. And I guess time and time again, we get companies that are coming to us to look at new initial markets. Very often, they don't even think about Germany. And for me, for the right products, the right sector, it can be a fantastic opportunity to move forward. So I think that's all that I really want to say just now, both in terms of the Chamber, in terms of the local export partnership. Please have a conversation with Sarah over coffee or at lunch, or come and have a chat with myself at any time, and we'll be delighted to help. Okay.